Entrepreneurship is hard. You thought you would strike out on your own so that you could create your own hours, you could do something you were passionate about, and so you could potentially make more money than you were making at a traditional career. Now you're working more hours than ever. You're probably even making less money if you're just starting out, and nobody around you understands what you're doing. I'm here to tell you these are ugly thoughts that every single entrepreneur has so that you are not alone. Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm a former COO who turned to freelancing. Now I like to think of myself as an organizer of entrepreneurial chaos. I pop in and out of businesses to help them out with things like project management, operations, team management, and more. And today I am going to be just talking about the ugly truths that every single entrepreneur has. It's totally normal. You are not alone, and I want to highlight that today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a brand new channel, and I would love your help in growing it. During my time as a COO, I had many moments where I just felt completely alone. It felt like no one truly understood the burden that was on my back to be able to care for other team members, to be able to make sure that we were still growing, that we were bringing in more money, to make sure that the clients were having the best time possible, that all of the team members were following the systems to create the kind of experience that was expected by the clients and upholding our values as a company. And ultimately, I was responsible if anything went wrong. It was really hard to handle that every single day, and I found myself questioning a lot of times if I could really do this role, if I had what it took, if I was smart enough, if I was intelligent enough, if I was outgoing enough, if I could be empathetic enough, if I could be organized enough to handle all of these things. It's completely normal for entrepreneurs to feel this way, and what I've learned since then is that everybody has similar thoughts. It really took this being open to my own eyes by a fellow business coach, a fellow business consultant, a few years into my COO position. So first off, I want to just introduce you to some really common limiting beliefs, and then we're going to talk about how we can actually start to combat those, because they don't particularly serve us and they don't drive us towards accomplishing the goals that we want to. I have a list, okay? It's over 100 on here. I've got a list of limiting beliefs I'm going to show you here in just a second. And I want you to grab a sheet of paper or something and just track how many of these you've ever thought to yourself before. 1, I'm not good enough. I'm not, insert an attribute, creative, outgoing, intelligent enough. They're so lucky. I need more training. I don't know how to start. I need more experience first. Don't have enough money. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if people don't understand me? It's kind of what this whole video is about. It's a man's world, ladies, or it's a man's business. The industry is too difficult to break into. I don't deserve to charge that much. I'm not a real entrepreneur. My background isn't interesting enough. I don't belong in the industry and I can't afford that. I want to talk a bit about why limiting beliefs can be so harmful. Specifically, limiting beliefs are a result of previous pain or experience you've had in your life, and now you've got that thought kind of on loop in your head, and it's something that you retell yourself based off a previous part of your life, whether it's true or not today. Something like, I'm not good enough. You might have felt that, told that to yourself as a teenager, but now you're in your mid-20s or your mid-30s, your mid-40s, and you're still saying it today. Limiting beliefs just sort of keep us from seeing all the other options available, and as a result, they really lead to feelings of despair, depression, loneliness, helplessness, and that results in us not taking the right action. I've got this little chart here for you. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, and then that cycle just sort of repeats. So if you tend to filter in negative thoughts, you're going to create negative feelings, which therefore probably means lack of action or very little action, and then that just keeps the repetition going, right? Because I didn't do anything, now I'm having even worse thoughts, which is creating worse feelings, which leads me to doing even less or nothing at all. thoughts control feelings, feelings control actions, actions control thoughts. The problem with these limiting beliefs is that they ultimately close doors for you. When you say to yourself something like, oh, I just can't afford that, you are not forced to try and think strategically or creatively how you could afford the thing that you want to afford. When you say to yourself, oh, I'm just not good enough, you take all options away from yourself because you're just not good enough in your eye. There is no, how do I learn or advance my skills to become good enough to do the thing? There's no creative or strategic thinking behind limiting beliefs, and that is the problem. I'm going to show you the monkey bar method, which is a slow evolution of those thoughts that can get you from the closed door limiting belief of something like, I'm just not good enough, to I am good enough. And how do we actually get there? Because it's a bit of a stretch to just go from that, right? So the monkey bar method. Let's use the example of I don't have enough money for something. Maybe you want to invest in a business. Maybe you want to invest some in education, and you're just like, I just don't have enough money. This thought closes the door. I want to invest in this business, but I don't have enough money. Well, that's just it. I guess I don't have enough money, and there's nothing left for me to do. That doesn't help us achieve our goals. What we would rather do is we would like to figure out how we can get to the thought of I'm ready to invest in this. But the problem with this link is that it's just unbelievable, right? Like if you were telling yourself, I don't have enough money, and then you just immediately go, I'm ready to invest in this, like you don't believe yourself. You're not acknowledging truth there. You haven't built up evidence. You haven't built up any other thoughts to help support that. So the monkey bar method specifically is exactly what it sounds like, where there are a set of monkey bars, and what you're doing are your thoughts are the rings on the monkey bar. You're starting on one end, I don't have enough money. You want to get to the other end, I'm ready to invest in this. But we need to alter that thought a few steps along the way in the monkey bar method in order to actually get there in a believable, realistic method. So I don't have enough money to I'm ready to invest in this. Let's see how we would do that. Instead of saying I don't have enough money, what if we changed our verbiage to how do I get enough money for this? Now we've gone from I don't have enough money, which is just a closed door in front of you, that opportunity is lost, to how do I get enough money for this allows you to start creatively thinking to yourself options for getting money. Can you have a yard sale? Can you sell a smaller product to start with? Can you start with something a little bit smaller, more condensed version that's cheaper to start that business up rather than the full scale like dream business you have in your mind? Can you validate the product with a few people by seeing if they would be willing to purchase it for like a smaller price, $5, $10, whatever it might be. Then we go from how do I get enough money for this to I will create the funds by, that's that idea generation. Okay, great. I've given myself options. I'm going to create the funds. You go out, you do it because now you're a lot more empowered to take action, right? I will create the funds by is a lot more empowering in feeling and actions than I don't have enough money. And then eventually we have created that evidence for ourselves. I'm ready to invest in this. And the great thing about the monkey bar method is that you could do this with any of your thoughts. So let's go back to that list real quick. Let's take the thought here on number 93 of my slide. I'm just pretending. This is kind of that imposter syndrome that a lot of people are familiar with. Maybe the ideal thought that we want to get to is like, I'm an expert, right? But if right now you feel like I'm just pretending, then you have to create evidence for yourself that would prove otherwise. So if your current thought is I'm just pretending, which is a closed door, doesn't leave any room for growth, it doesn't leave any room for options, then maybe the next thought we can have is how do I gain some more experience, right? That creates options, that creates creativity, that creates a strategy like planning phase for how do I gain more experience in this thing so that I'm no longer an imposter. And then the next thought turns into something like, I am going to do XYZ to gain experience. You go out, you do that thing, And now it turns into I'm experienced or I'm an expert or whatever that new thought is. That's that monkey bar method for changing your thoughts. Now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, but Victoria, my thoughts are true. I don't have experience. Then go create proof for yourself. I'm just going to lay it out for you straight. If you don't have experience and you feel like you're an imposter, or you have never done a thing that you want to go do, then you have to go create experiences for yourself. You have to go create proof that you are capable of doing things. Again, we change our thoughts from I don't have experience to how do I get experience? Being able to ask yourself a question creates creative opportunities. Saying, but I am a failure. I want you to give yourself equal airtime in that case. If you are constantly telling yourself only negative things about yourself and never the positives, then you are always just shutting down opportunities, shutting down positivity for yourself. What if we at least gave ourselves equal airtime and we said, instead of, but I am a failure and only that, what if we said something like, but I was successful at blah, 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 and creating that proof for yourself yet again. When it comes to these limiting beliefs, when it comes to feeling the struggles, the angst, the loneliness that can come with entrepreneurship sometimes, I want you to become a scientist, not a judge. And what I mean by that is when you catch yourself thinking one of these limiting beliefs, when you catch yourself questioning if you're smart enough, if you have what it takes, I want you to put that thought to be examined. I want you to ask yourself, is that thought even true? Where does that thought come from? Like, why have I started thinking this? What happened in my life to create this thought within me? I don't want you to be a judge, though. I don't want you to go, I can't believe I'm still thinking this about myself, or this thought isn't helpful. I watched that one YouTube video that talked about this thought isn't helpful. I just want you to examine a question. How can I change this thought? How could I make it different, and where does it come from? Is it even true to begin with? So just to recap, this is ugly truths that all entrepreneurs have. You are not alone. And I want you to make sure that you are applying the monkey bar method the next time that you begin having some of these limiting belief thoughts, or at least play the scientist, not the judge role. Make sure that you are examining your thoughts, questioning where they come from, questioning if they're even true, and give yourself a little empathy in understanding why they exist in the first place, rather than judging them or hating yourself for continuing to think them. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video for more, and I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.